You guys, today we have to talk about Martell Holt and his ongoing saga that just won't seem to end. Martell is back on our screens, but guess who he's talking about? Melody Shari. That's right, even though Melody is nowhere to be. Seen on the show this season, Martell can't stop bringing her name up. It's like she's the center of his world, and he finds ways to drag her into every conversation. You ask him about the weather, and somehow it turns into a story about a time with Melody. It's exhausting watching this because it's clear he hasn't moved on. He's stuck replaying old moments like they mean something now. But really, it just makes him look like he's still caught in that past. And when Martell talks about the incident, let me stop you right there. Calling cheating on your wife? For years and fathering a child outside your marriage, an incident is like calling a hurricane a drizzle. That was no accident. It was a choice, a decision he made over and over. And the worst part? His mom Marlene knew about Arian Curry, the other woman, and kept quiet. Melody once said she saw Marlene as a second mom. But when it was time to protect her like family, Marlene turned silent. That silence is what hurts the most, because it feels like betrayal from the people you trust. Speaking of Marlene, her tears about the divorce seem less about love and more about losing her lifestyle. When Melody was in the picture, Marlene lived comfortably with perks like a big house, an Escalade, and a bar in the living room. After Melody left, everything changed. Now Marlene's down to a small one-bedroom apartment with a tiny fridge and nothing else. Instead of holding Martell accountable for his mistakes, she's sitting there helping him play the victim card. It's a harsh reality, but an important one to see because it shows how complicated family loyalty can get, especially when money and status are involved. Martell keeps trying to act like he's the one who got hurt the most. He says his mom was extremely hurt and that they had many talks about getting it right. But really, how many talks do you need before you understand your marriage is falling apart? Melody made it clear, stop cheating or she was gone. Martell ignored that, thinking she'd just keep forgiving him. But when she left, he acted like it was a surprise. This isn't a sad story of a man caught off guard. It's a story of someone who made bad choices and kept making them. Here's where it gets even messier. Years later, Martell is still tangled up with Melody in court battles over custody and restraining orders. If he truly wanted to move on like he says, why is he still in these situations that force Melody to keep her distance and even involve security? That's not moving on. That's holding on for dear life, refusing to let go of a chapter that's clearly over. Let's talk about Arian Curry, the woman Martell is now publicly with. You can tell from his body language and pictures that he's not happy about it. He looks like he's just waiting for it to be over, while Arian grins like she's proud to be next to him, calls him my man over and over. But Martell's eyes tell a different story. His heart seems still wrapped up in Melody. This is so telling because it shows how complicated and messy his emotions really are. He might be trying to present a new image, but deep down, he's still stuck. Another thing to watch is how the producers and people like Carlos King and Kimmy are handling Arian's presence on the show. They're suddenly softer about mentioning her, which feels calculated. It's like they're preparing us for a bigger role for her soon. They can't just drop her in without testing the waters first. It's a smart move to keep the show fresh because, let's be real, some storylines like Kimmy's health or Maurice's honesty drama are starting to feel recycled. Bringing Arian forward is a way to shake things up and keep viewers interested. Martell loves controlling the story, especially when it comes to Arian. He doesn't want her to be the villain because that makes him look worse. If Arian gets to tell her side on TV, maybe some of the heat will shift off Martell. But that doesn't erase what happened. The cheating, the lies, the public humiliation Melody went through. It's just a new angle to an old, painful story. Kimmy is also playing her part smartly. She knows being the middle person between the original cast and Arian gives her power. Reality TV loves a peacemaker who can keep the drama going without being the bad guy. So, while it might seem like healing old wounds, This feels more like a game to keep cameras rolling and paychecks coming. Martell's story is a cautionary tale about what happens when you don't own your mistakes and keep living in the past. Melody is out there living her best life, glowing and thriving, showing what moving on really looks like. Meanwhile, Martell and Marlene are still stuck playing the victim and trying to rewrite history. The big question at the end of the day is, when the cameras stop, what will Martell really have left? So if you want to get the full picture and hear more about this tangled mess involving Martell, Melody, Marlene, Arian, Carlos King, and Kimmy, stay with me till the very end. There's so much more to unpack, and I promise the ending will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you Team Melody, Team Martell, or Team neither? Let's get into it and break down what's really going on behind the scenes. Now, let's get into why this whole victim act from Martell and Marlene is so frustrating to watch. It's like they want us to feel sorry for them, but the reality is very different. Martell's actions have consequences, and no amount of tears or excuses changes the fact that he broke trust repeatedly. What's even harder to stomach is how Marlene, his own mother, seems to be more focused on protecting her son's image than standing up for what's right. She knew about Arian, she knew about the lies, yet she stayed silent. That silence made the hurt deeper for Melody, who saw Marlene as family but was betrayed by her loyalty. Marlene's tears on camera might look genuine, but when you think about everything that went down, it feels like a performance. She's grieving the loss of a lifestyle and the perks that came with Melody being part of the family. That's the harsh truth nobody wants to say out loud. When the money and comfort disappear, suddenly the person you defend becomes harder to stand behind. But instead of holding Martell accountable, Marlene chooses to stand by him and paint herself as the one suffering. It's a classic case of misplaced loyalty, and it's painful to watch. And then there's Martell himself. This man had years to make things right, but instead, he chose to keep making mistakes. He ignored Melody's ultimatums, thinking she'd always forgive him. Not love or commitment, that's disrespect. And yet, he still acts shocked that she left. It's like he lives in a bubble where his actions don't have real consequences. But the courts, restraining orders, custody battles, those are very real. And they show the chaos left behind when you refuse to change. The court battles between Martell and Melody show how this story is far from over. Even though Melody has moved on with her life, Martell keeps pulling her back into conflict. Custody fights and legal restrictions aren't signs of healing. They're signs of people still trying to figure out how to coexist after betrayal. And it makes you wonder if Martell really wanted to move forward. Why is he still stuck fighting battles that drag them both down? Arian Curry's role adds even more complexity. From Martell's uncomfortable body language around her, it's clear he's not happy in this situation. She's proud and loud about being with him, but he seems like he's just going through the motions. That kind of tension is hard to hide, especially on camera. It makes you question if this relationship is real or just another chapter in the ongoing drama Martell seems unable to escape. What's also interesting is how the show's producers and cast members are handling this story. Carlos King and Kimmy's sudden, softer approach toward Arian doesn't feel accidental. It's like they're preparing us for a shift in the storyline, maybe even an official appearance by Arian. This could be a strategy to keep the show interesting as some of the other storylines feel old or repetitive. It's a reminder that reality TV is just as much about storytelling and ratings as it is about real life. Kimmy's role as a peacemaker is smart TV business. She stays neutral but keeps herself in the middle of the drama, making her a key player without becoming the villain. It's a delicate balance, but one that can bring her more opportunities on the show. Meanwhile, Martell's PR game is all about trying to soften his image. But the truth about his cheating and betrayal remains, no matter how much he tries to spin it. Melody, on the other hand, shines as a contrast to all this mess. Okay. Here, living her best life, traveling, growing her brand, and moving forward without drama. She's the picture of strength and resilience, showing viewers what it really means to rise above pain. Her ability to stay focused and positive while Martell keeps digging up the past is inspiring. It reminds us that sometimes the best revenge is just living well. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Martell, Melody, or even Marlene. It's about the choices we make and how we deal with the consequences. Martell had the chance to be a better husband and father, but he chose otherwise?